This is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from the beautiful metaverse, and more specifically from beautiful Danville, Illinois, homeland of the Corellian tradition. And this is Midday with Reverend Don. Welcome. And today our guest is Krys Copeland. Welcome, Krys.
Thank you. Good to be here again.
And as you know, if you follow Midday with Reverend Don, you can type your questions or comments into whatever platform you happen to be watching on, and they will show up in our chat room. And we want to say hello to Reverend Michael in the chat room. It's good to see you, Mike.
Good to see you, Reverend Michael.
And today we're going to talk about interesting new things from Corellian publishing, and probably the first thing to talk about we mentioned yesterday, and that's the return of the Tarot of Hecate. And if you have watched people using the Tarot of Hecate, either when I do mini readings here or on Tarot Thursday, on Divination TV and various other places, and wanted one of your own, now you can have one. They've been out of print for a while, but they are coming back, and you can pre-order them at Corellian Publishing under the Infinite Tarot button. And
yes. I think that if Reverend Michael is the same Michael that I saw in our order history today, I believe he's already purchased a pre-order. If it's the same
Reverend, he was the very first one.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Reverend Michael, for your support.
And hello to Bimby in the chat room.
Hi, Bimby, and no worries on volunteering. You volunteer when you have the time. When you don't, you don't. That's how it is. Life happens.
Yes. So if people are interested in pre-ordering a copy of the Tarot of Hecate, when we have 10 pre-orders, the order will go into the publisher. We currently have 3 in less than 24 hours, so I don't think it's going to be a long time.
Yes, and I'd like to go ahead and just share that screen with everybody while you're talking about it, so they can see some of the beautiful artwork on this.
And here you can see some of the cards themselves. And I designed this deck back in the 1980s as a black and white tarot deck. It was finished as a color deck about 20 years ago. And we brought it out a couple of times, and we're bringing it out again. And hopefully it will be perennially available now. But I would say certainly if you're wanting one, now is the time to get one.
Yes, absolutely.
And when we've got our 10 pre-orders, I probably will put out an announcement saying, if you want to be in this first one, you got another 24 hours. But we'll be sending them in pretty much as soon as we've got them. And then they will come to us within a few weeks. They have to be printed and boxed. And then we'll send them out to you.
And I'll just flip through a few of the images here. I've already shown people the Fortune card and the Moon card. Here is the Tower card. And I really love this is like a very Madonna diva-esque kind of style. I love it. It does have that 80s kind of retro feel to it, too. You were really vibing with that decade.
And this represents the soul breaking free from the cycle of incarnation as an illustration. Yeah, and that's one of the different meanings of the Tower card. That's the cosmological meaning.
Yeah.
And this does include a PDF of the book that goes with it, or you can buy a physical copy of the book at Corellian Publishing.
And I'll just pull up a few of the other cards here that we have. We've got the Ace of Cups, the Six of Pentacles, and the Hermit here. And if you hear a little dog barking or walking around in the background, I apologize. My dog has gotten into my office. She feels lonely when I'm not around, so sometimes she sneaks in. Yeah, I love the Hermit card on this one because most often you see the Hermit as a male figure. And I love the idea of like the witch living out in the woods on her own, like out in the bayou. I always picture it in the bayou for some reason.
We want to say hello to Martin in the chat room.
Hello, Martin.
And Martin says that they love the artwork. Thank you.
Martin, come get your dog.
I was at great pains. Well, in this and all the artwork I was doing, and for most of my career, to be as inclusive um, as I could be at that time.
Cutting edge for the 80s, especially. Yeah.
At the time, had it actually come out when it was designed, it would have been epochal.
Hmm.
Um, but I still think it's beautiful and interesting.
It
So
has that. It does have that kind of 1980s cartoon feel as well. You know, with like the action stars and the. I'm thinking GI Joe and
I guess it kind
early.
of does.
Yeah.
Cartoon artwork was a major influence on my artwork. When I was a small child, um, I was talking yesterday. I had my father's commercial art instruction books, but I also studied the cartoons that I was watching, and I was always very systematic in how I did things, and so I learned certain ways of depicting figures and tended to stick with that. Um, I've evolved a little farther than that over time, but you can see the influence of cartoons and also of Japanese or POA artwork, which was a big influence on me. One of the
And
first books on artwork I remember being given was a history of Japanese artwork, and along with a number of books on Renaissance artwork, and there's more similarity between those two than you might imagine, and it really influenced how I tend to approach artwork.
yeah, I love the shadowing that you've done here on the body of the Magus.
Thank you.
It's just very nicely done. It's lovely.
My artwork tends to be very high contrast in the lighting. Not always, but usually, and I don't know. It's kind of a Baroque element, I suppose, but
Yeah.
um, it usually is not just mild lighting. It's usually fairly dramatic, not always. And as I was saying yesterday, the colors are everywhere
Yes.
because, of course, they are.
And I like that you've pulled from also different pantheons as well, because you can see
Mm-hmm.
Egyptian here, but then obviously Celtic influence in this
Mm-hmm.
one. So that's lovely to see the variety and the kind of
Mm-hmm.
mixing of different cultures and different pantheons.
Thank you.
Yeah. Some other artwork I'd like to show people today. Let me switch to that screen. We are creating a pretty cool project with an author and artist named Sarah Hartsong. She is the head of Tree of Life Interfaith Sanctuary. We've already published one book for her, the Will of the Year series for preteens, and we're actually renaming that to preteens and parents when we come up when we release the new edition next year. And we're going to continue working on that series, but because there are so many projects coming in right now, we've decided to slow that down a bit. Instead of trying to put out 4 a year, we're going to put out 2 a year, and within 4 years we'll have all of them out. So the next book that we will release from Sarah will probably be the Samhain book, which we are currently working on. But another amazing idea that Sarah has had is this idea for a recipe box that has different cards that you can kind of pull out and put together to create your own ritual on the spot. So even if you have brand new people in who've never done it before, never even seen a ritual before, you can just take out the card, hand it to them. When it's their turn, you point to them and they read the card. And so we're calling it the Ritual Recipe Box, with an alternate name of Box of Shadows, if you prefer that name, but to kind of be more inclusive to all earth-based religion paths, we're using Ritual Recipe Box instead for the official name for it. And I'd like to show you the artwork that will be on the back of her deck, her starter deck. There will be more decks released. We'll have a starter deck first with, I believe, 33 cards. And she has just announced the artwork for this. Let me share that screen here so you can see the back of the card.
We want to say hello to Proxones in the chat room.
Hello, good to see you. So here is Sarah's lovely artwork. And of course, her last name is Heartsong, so she's incorporated that idea with the little Sarah, the little S swirl there for the musical notes, and the heart. But also, she loves rainbows. She's part of the queer community, and she uplifts queer people. So of course, that's part of her design as well, and just a really lovely piece of art here that she's put together for the back of the cards. The front of the cards will be in black with yellow text so that they're easy to read in candlelight or low light, perfect for rituals. And the idea is just to quickly make, just like you would with a quick fix recipe, like a Rachel Ray's style recipe. You can do that same thing with rituals now. With this starter deck. In addition to that, she has also licensed us to share that idea with other creators so that you out there listening, you can create your own specific card deck. Let's say you're a druid and you want to create cards that will fit with druidic rituals. You can create the druid expansion deck that can go with the ritual recipe box series, and it will have your customized back of the card artwork and your customized information on the front. So if you're interested in creating your own deck through this series, please give us a shout at corellian.publishing@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to work with you on that. And we're open to all ideas. All earth-based paths are welcome, and I think Sarah would be very interested in also exploring other paths as well. She's quite open. Obviously, her organization is the Tree of Life Interfaith Sanctuary. So if you're out there and you're kind of exploring different paths, and you have one that you're really attached to right now, and you'd like to share that path with others, contact us and we'll help you create your own deck for the ritual recipe box. In addition to the card decks themselves, Sarah owns a company called Rare Earth Designs. You can find it at rareearthdesigns.net, I believe. And she creates wands and other pieces from wood and found materials. And she will be creating boxes that you can store the cards in, so that you'll have your own box that's just suited for that purpose. And she might expand that into different designs later on. Maybe she can, even if you're creating your own deck with us, she could also create a customized box that matches that particular deck. But the idea is that you can start collecting the cards and pull together your own unique rituals by combining different elements from different decks. And I'll go through just very quickly what to expect from the first deck, which will be the starter deck. You'll have calls to the circle. You'll have calls as well as thanks and farewell to the goddesses, the gods, and the elements. There will be a section for Will of the Year teachings. There will be a section for Will of the Year activities. There will be a section for readings and prayers. Another for meditations and path workings. Another for songs, chants, and dances. We'll have one for charms, for potions, for candle magic, for rites of passage, cones of power, blessings, and cakes and ale. And then the benedictions, or the opening words, or opening the circle, or the final words for the ritual. All contained within one box so that you can pull out whatever you need, whether it's for a personal ritual or group ritual. It doesn't matter. You can pass out the cards or keep them all for yourself if you're the one conducting the entire ritual. But the idea is that you'll be able to make your own ritual. And here's what those cards will look like. This is the kind of table of contents card. So you can see how visually clear this can be under low lighting. And this one I'm very, very excited about. Very happy to be working with Sarah on this project. It has been an absolute blast working with her.
Very cool. And we want to say hello to Jessica in the chat room. Hello, Jessica.
Hi, Jessica. Good to see you.
Well,
Now,
that's a lovely project.
yeah, I'm very excited about this one. This one has a lot of potential for growth, a lot of potential for collaboration with new artists and people in our audience. And, I just love to see projects like that where the whole community can get together and, put their own little imprint on it. It's good to see. And it's not the only project we've got coming up either. We've got a couple of others that I'd like to share with you. I'm just going to stop sharing for a minute while I discuss that and pull up the image that I'd like you to see that is associated with it. So we have just signed a contract with Laura Enright, who has written pagan fantasy before, has published with other publishing companies, and she has agreed to work with our ministry and try something a little bit different, a little bit new in the industry. We're not a traditional publishing company, obviously. We are a ministry, and I'm so excited to have such an experienced author join our team for this project. And she has this beautifully written book called Court of the Five Tribes. And I'll just show you the cover art for it first. Let's see here. Let me share that screen. Here's the cover art for the book. And I'll zoom in so you can kind of see the images a bit better. But The Court of the Five Tribes is obviously a book about dragons. And there are 5 different dragon tribes, each one associated with a different element. So there's a metal dragon, an earth dragon, a wood dragon, a fire dragon, and a water dragon tribe. Obviously, there's more than one dragon for each, and they each live in their own little part of their world that they live in, and they have their own customs and their own ways of speaking, their own interests and mannerisms and culture. And she's really beautifully woven this story together. It's got this kind of it reminds me of Warrior Cats. I don't know if anyone in the audience is familiar with Warrior Cats by Aaron Hunter, but it has that same kind of exploring this whole new world of cultures that Aaron Hunter created in her series Warrior Cats, with different cat clans, and this has that similar vibe to it. And basically, the tree that you see here in the middle is their sacred tree. And they go here for the dragon meeting once a year, and they over the last several years have noticed that the tree is dying. And the reason for that is hidden below the tree. I won't spoil any more details than that, but yeah, it's a fascinating story, and I'm having a lot of fun going through and editing it. It has been really easy to edit, actually, because Laura is just such a phenomenal writer. And I believe that you're actually the one that brought her into our team, Reverend Don. Is that correct?
Yes, I've known Laura for many years, and she is a well published author already. So I'm not surprised that you're finding it enjoyable. But yeah, during a conversation I recommended that she consider publishing her next book for us, and she took us up on it.
Yes, I'm so happy that she did, just especially for my own enjoyment. This is the kind of book, it's designed for young adults, but I would read it as an adult, just because it's such a fascinating fantasy story. So I don't think that it's necessarily only for teenagers or that teenage range of people. Similar to, when Harry Potter came out, it became well loved by both children and adults. And that has that same kind of quality, I think, with this book. It has that uniqueness that draws in readers from all different age levels, and it's just very well woven together. So that's one that I'm really enjoying. editing and working on. And I appreciate Lori coming onto our team for this.
Yes, indeed. We want to say hello to Nikki in the chat room.
Hi, Nikki. Good to see you. And Reverend Michael asked about the astrology book. That one is finished, Reverend Michael. So if you haven't received your copy, contact us because I believe all of those have been shipped out.
Every order of the astrology book has been shipped. Now, have they all been received? I don't know, but they've all been shipped.
Yeah, so if you haven't received yours, contact us because we need to look into that. The next book that we will be working on for Reverend Don, I'll stop sharing here while I discuss that, is going to be your Stones and Crystals books, which I'm very excited about because I love stones and crystals. I have some on my desk right now. This is coral from, I believe, the Indian Ocean when I was in Kenya.
Beautiful. Well, it's really nice when you've collected it yourself.
Yes. Absolutely. It's one of my favorite things to do. Every time I go to a new ocean or a new sea, I pick up just a few things that help me, that I feel connected with. When I see it, I'm like, oh, that one wants to come home with me.
Yes.
Yes. Unfortunately, it seems like they all want to come home with me, and then I get lots of weird looks as my baggage passes through the conveyor belt at the airport. So yeah, like half of my luggage is just rocks and stones sometimes.
What's in this bag? A bunch of stones?
Exactly. Yes. They're not weapons, I swear. They're just because I'm a nerd and I like stones.
Yes. Well, it's interesting when you're in a position to travel because, over the years and in my capacity as head of the Karelian tradition during those years, I was able to go to many different interesting places, including two different points on the ocean. I remember being on the North Sea. I remember being able to see the ocean from the shores of Melbourne in Australia and going to the literal southernmost point of Africa and seeing the ocean there. And it's interesting how all of these places have their own feeling. I mean, they really do. I found that in traveling, some parts of the earth feel very individual. How much depends where you're going.
I get that same feeling when I travel as well. There's this favorite quote of mine from Mark Twain who says, "Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts." And by our people, he meant Americans. I just really love that quote because it's so true. You go and you get to know a culture, you get to know a people, and you realize that. Yes, while they're super unique and no one culture is exactly like the other, there is this humanness in everywhere you go, and this sense of just belonging to the world as a whole. And I know that travel is definitely a luxury, especially in these difficult economic times. So I do feel very blessed to be able to travel. And if you're interested in traveling with magical guidance, we do have travel magic available in our online store. So check that out by Lisa McSherry. She made a beautiful book with that, with all different tips and tricks for pagans for traveling, to continue to bring your spirituality with you. And it's very helpful for me on my travels to just stay connected to who I am and and what my path is, while still also being open to all these new experiences that I'm having. And if you're not able to travel for whatever reason, I encourage you to explore documentaries, to explore travel channels on YouTube, and get that feeling of connecting with people across the world. Travel videos online often inspire my next trip. But even when, especially during COVID, when I couldn't travel, I watch travel videos almost daily, and it really helped with my mental wellness, my well-being during that time. Because as someone who is just a traveler, that's how I identify myself in the world, as a traveler. not being able to travel was quite disheartening, and having that connection through social media and through online content really
Mm.
helped me with that. So if you're also a travel bug and you can't travel right now, I encourage you to check out some of those. Drew Binsky is one of my favorites on YouTube. He makes some amazing videos about different cultures around the world, and he's been to every country in the world. So an excellent one to take a look at is Drew Binsky. Um, Now, speaking of going back to our talk on stones and
Mm.
crystals,
And we want to
Re-
say hello to Jade. Hi, Jade.
hi Jade, good to see you in the chat. First Priestess Alyssa has decided to work with us on a number of books. Lord Phoenix as well will be producing a number of books, particularly on pagan psychology and mental wellness, as well as African earth-based religions, voodoo, and things of that nature. So keep an eye out for those as they are in development right now. The first book that we will be working on with Lady Alyssa will be this adorable little children's book about a little girl named Mabel
Mm.
who is obsessed with stones and crystals, and she just talks about how much she loves each one and all the different colors, and how she feels so witchy with them. And she goes to school, and she has a really bad day at school. She's not very
Mm.
focused. She's thinking about all her crystals in her mind and things like that. And she gets in trouble for not paying attention, for not turning in her work, and just has a really rough day. And when she gets home, her mom encourages her to start using her crystals as a focus. And so she returns to school the next day empowered with her fluorite. And so that's just a beautiful little story for pagan kids. I would say it's in the age range from, birth basically until about maybe 10, 12 years old, something like that. And just a beautiful little bedtime story, great to read with your kids. So keep an eye out for that one as well. Right now we have a working title of Magical Mabel, but that
Mm.
may change. But keep an eye out for something to do with Mabel on our website coming shortly. Very excited about that one as well.
Very cool.
Yeah. I have one more one. I know we only have a couple of minutes left, but this one I want to talk about as well. Autumn Stoneflower has agreed to work with us on a book, and this one is about, I've mentioned it before, the Circles End Academy Wiccan boarding school, and the experience of actually a trans Christian girl who goes to this school because she's not safe at her Christian school, and she is safe at this Wiccan school. But she doesn't feel safe. She's very nervous about going to see all these witches. She's only heard really bad things from her local community and in the Christian community, and so she's very surprised at how friendly everyone is at the school and how welcoming everyone is. Um, you almost especially because she is trans, and people want to make her feel welcome and included, and that just shows the different experiences that people from the queer community have within our faith in comparison to maybe their home faith. So I'm continuing to work on that. I'm very excited to have that one coming out soon too. Look for those children's books probably by fall.
Thank
Hello,
you. And
Mary.
hello. Hi, Mary.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you. With that, we've completed our half hour, but this has been a very full half hour for Corellian Publishing.
Lots of
And
exciting.
if you're interested in the Reverend Don's Book of Numerology, it is now available.
Mm-hmm.
If you are interested in the Return of the Tarot of Hecate, you can pre-order them, as we said, at Corellian Publishing under the Infinite Tarot button.
I think you
And
have an announcement about a ritual or something coming up as well.
oh yes, I also wanted to mention this Friday we have a Pride Chakra meditation by Reverend Brian Ellicott at 6 p.m. And we hope that you will tune in for that. as part of our celebration of Pride Month.
6 p.m. Eastern time, yes.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Let us close with our prayer, as we always do. And I'll be back tomorrow. Divine Mother Goddess, Divine Father God, beloved ancestors, we thank you for all that you do for us in our lives, and we pray that we shall go forward together, hand in hand, for many years to come. We ask you to continue to bring interesting things before us. Help us to find the joy in life and the many interesting differences that spice the stew of living, so to speak. Beloved Mother Goddess, beloved Father God, beloved ancestors, we know you are always with us, but from respect, we thank you for your presence, and may you be blessed now and always. I thank you for your presence. May you be blessed now and always. Thank you, Krys, for joining us. And I'll be back tomorrow.